What's going on, guys? Welcome on in. Happy Tuesday. Market's about to open up here in a second. We're live. We're back in action. Looking at SPY to start things off for the day. And we got a couple things. Let me make sure I'm all logged in here. I have a couple positions that are open. Maybe we have one of them that's approaching profit target. So we'll see if that hits today. Otherwise, tomorrow market's closed. So curious what's going to happen today, if we get a continuation of yesterday or if we get a calm day, you know, or what happens here. But either way, we're back. I'm just going to pull up my main, not my main list, but my my current position list here. Once we open up, well, now the market's open up. Once it loads up here, we'll be good. Bitcoin is down another 2% today. Not great. Let's go to the daily time frame here. Not looking great on the bigger pictures of that. It is breaking down. Definitely looks pretty weak. Although it broke the downtrend, you know, right around this area, 63K or so, a few weeks back in May. Actually, it was a month back. It has essentially done nothing really since. It popped up, double top high, a little rejection right where we kind of maybe expected to a degree. We had, you know, prior all-time highs up there. But ever since then, kind of just floating lower. Not aggressively selling off, but floating lower. Maybe today that changes and it wants to be more aggressive. We'll see. Either way, chart looks like it could be decently set up for downside. You know, momentum at least. We'll see. Let's see what happens. See what happens. So we'll keep an eye on that in the back burner. The 10-year is down a 0.72 today after an up day yesterday, which is, you know, notable. Let's check oil quick. Oil's up a little bit. Oil had a good day yesterday, I believe. Yeah, it's pushing to the top end of its previous consolidation range before it broke down. Now I'm curious to see if it wants to go up or if it's going to roll back over off this area. Either way, bigger picture on oil, it has been choppy to say the least. Silver, that is currently down about 0.5% today, but it was down more. It's bounced back a little bit. Gold's actually up barely, but it's up a little bit today. Nothing of interest in my opinion on those guys. Where you got more interest is the Russell's gapping up. Actually, let me just take a peek at the ETFs here. Yeah, it's not. That's just on futures. Russell's flat. Everything's pretty much flat. All the ETFs are about flat on the day. Yeah. Pretty interesting. I mean, now let me check the main list here. Let's check who's moving today. So far, and we just opened 2 minutes ago. Apple up 0.5%. Apple could be interesting for the upside today. We'll see. Ooh. Interesting indeed. Interesting indeed. That's based off the pre-market action, though. You would be, I mean, I'll draw a line here at around 218.35. Above that, interesting. And then, I mean, honestly, above that, I mean, you got the potential look for, you know, a pop, and then why not go for a new all-time high, which would be up here. It's not that far off if it gets the momentum thrust. So we'll see. We got that popping a little bit. Microsoft, let's check out Microsoft. Yeah, similar looking chart, to be honest, to Apple. Nvidia had let it load up. You know, kind of a flat day yesterday, not much. And then today, opening up kind of right where it's been the past couple days. Tesla's down 1.5. Let's check on that. More interesting, I guess. Big day yesterday for Tesla, and then today, the story of Tesla was kind of like, even the days prior that it had big days, like if you go back to last week, it did give it back the previous two. But, you know, overall, though, maybe a higher low is established here, so something to be paying attention to. We'll watch that one. Because I think Tesla is giving me some, I'm getting a little bit of a sense that it could be back to more of an interesting momentum trader at some point here. Because you're getting better action the past couple of days versus like this is just like choppy, like tough, you know. If you are a range trader, great, but that's not me. AMD down a little bit today. AMD does not look great. Does not look great, but also, I don't know. It's in one of the strongest sectors, so it's tough to fight that, you know. Amazon, not much to talk about in my opinion there. Meta, So we'll see. I'm curious to see if today is going to be actually a decent day, or if today is going to end up just being a boring, you know, because the market's closed tomorrow type of like, who knows? Either way, look at SPY, 4-hour chart, popping a little bit, 1 hour. Yeah, it does look pretty good. It does. Check out the Apple, back to the Apple for a second. Apple is now breaking that blue line that we just drew in. It's too early for me to trade that, so I wouldn't trade that. It's just not the way I operate, but it looks good. Looks like it could be, you know, sending it for a nice move higher. So if we get a consolidation in the 5 minute, maybe I would day trade Apple. We'll see. Maybe. But usually I wait 10 to 15 minutes after the open, just get a feel for things, and then we'll kind of go from there. But otherwise, SPY looks pretty strong. Qs look, you know, Dow, DIA looks pretty good. DIA could actually be a trade, you know, over here. You know, only problem with that is that it's been really weak compared, but then maybe it plays catch up, you know, I don't know. So there's that side of the argument there too. SMH, new all-time highs on SMH, keeps going up because why not? Semis, you know. Let's see, on my list, eBay is up a little bit so far, nothing crazy there. It's got a long way to go for target, and then it's closer, it's right around where my entry is. Booking, if Booking can make a $50 pop today, then we'll be hitting take profit, but I'm looking for just shy of $4,000. So essentially 4,000 needs to be hit, which maybe hits, maybe doesn't hit. We'll see how it handles today. Good looking candle yesterday, very strong move, new all-time highs, closing at high day, had decent volume, nothing crazy, but decent volume. So I like the look of it. We'll see what happens today. Netflix, we've also got this one on the long, and we're looking for a push to pretty much just about its all-time high, just below that high of 700. It's up, it's flat today pretty much. So just waiting, nothing crazy. This has been, you know, 2 good volume days, 2 good, you know, decent looking yesterday's candle, but 2 good volume days on the breakout, which you love to see. So very valid trade in my opinion. Now it's a matter of just letting it either get to the take profit or she rolls over and we take the loss. At some point though, I could move my stop to break even, which I may do, but I'm gonna leave it for now. I can move my stop, to be honest, to what was my original? I can move my stop to under 650 though on Netflix, which I'm gonna do right now. Oh, I already did. One step ahead of you. Never mind. Okay, so if I get any other alerts, we'll obviously see. But because I set a bunch of alerts the past couple of days, so good morning. Hopefully it's a, you know, interesting day. You never know. But yeah, SPY looks good right now. Looks a lot better than QQQ's chart. Well, QQ is a little choppy. It's still, they're both pretty strong. But SMH just keeps going, man. Keep going. It must be NVIDIA doing well. Let's go back to here. Yeah, NVIDIA's up 0.69. Not surprised. Dude, it just keeps going. It keeps grinding, which is crazy to me, but also like, dude, I just, how high can this thing go? It's fun to watch. That's for sure. Super pumped with NVIDIA though, because of the potential you're going to have for at least the foreseeable future, this to be a pretty good tradable stock, as in up and down. You know, obviously it's been great to the upside, momentum, but you can probably imagine that, you know, when something inflates this much and you got a lot of talk and a lot of people invested in it, the downside could be just as incredible because of the moves that could be big, because you got a lot of panic sellers and you've got a lot of, you know, holy shit, what the fuck do I do? You know, more of that kind of going on when it starts to roll over, because at some point people are going to say, hey, you know, did I buy it too high? Is this the dip buy? You know, you're going to have a lot of the questions. But when there's more questions and people are kind of shitting their pants, that's when you get better action. It tends to be. So when it's quiet, not much is going on. Oh, I know when it does give, dude, it's going to be fun. Either way though, just if you're prepared for it, whether you're in it or not, you know, just don't be dumb. Is my view. don't be a dumbass. Just be, if you're in it and you're riding this wave, all I will say is go look back at, historically speaking, some of the biggest market rallies or individual stock rallies that we've ever seen. No, like I'm not even saying like look, compare it to the no, just go back, look it up, do some research, and figure out how big was the Microsoft move back in 2000? How big was Cisco? How big was look at some of the biggest moves of all time, Apple, and compare Nvidia's returns to some of those, and then make the decision for yourself. That's all I would say, because when I looked at that stuff, I was like, not like it's bad, it's awesome because the thing is going up. I don't own any, but I'm like, this looks a lot like a lot of other situations, which doesn't mean that the stock is or the company sucks. It means that you could potentially, like a Microsoft, if you just look back at Microsoft example, you can maybe be dealing with something like this, and it's up to you. It's up to your, what's your time horizon on the investment and whatnot. And of course, there's a lot of unknowns. You jump back to Microsoft, and Microsoft had a span of about 16 years, if I'm not mistaken. This span where it did not make a new all-time high for 16 years. It got nailed about from the highs here. It got nailed 65% within about a year. Yeah. Or so. A couple years later, it was down 75% from the highs, and eventually it was recovered and gone to new all-time highs. It's also it's Microsoft, right? Is that going to be the same for an Nvidia? Who knows, right? But the rally that it had prior to that looks kind of similar to Nvidia's rally if you look back at the charts and compare the percentage moves and stuff. So I just thought that was interesting and worth noting at a minimum. And again, like let's say you bought into Microsoft down here, yeah, you're just holding it, and it's not doing much. You weren't getting paid a dividend really at all, but you just got dead money. It's just dead money, Whereas the overall market was, well, outside of this span right here, was going higher. If you compare it to SPY, let's pull up SPY's chart from the same time frame, go back to the 90s through now, and you'd see. Come on, baby, load up. There it is. Kind of a similar situation to a degree, I guess. But it did make a new all-time high a couple of years prior to Microsoft making it new all-time high. Years with an S, not just like, a couple months. No, a couple years. And in my opinion, too, when you get a big dip on, let's say, the S&P 500 and then the NASDAQ, it's a lot easier to buy that dip, just mentally, versus buying the dip on a stock that you don't could bounce back, right, or could never come back. I mean, not that Cisco is gone as in it never came back. It kind of has, but if you jump back out on the bigger time frames, I got to refresh this. It still has yet to make a new all-time high compared to 2000 after its run. Not that it's done bad. But just again, it's been kind of like dead money since. If you bought the dips and stuff, okay, you're up. But if you didn't, and you didn't know when, and you play that mind game, whereas the S&P, you got more data to go off of. It's more of an average. It's not a little bit easier to buy the dip, in my opinion. But that's also just my opinion. GME, yeah, we can pull it up. Down for, I mean, we were talking about this yesterday. AMC and GameStop, not huge fans of how they're looking. I'm going to refresh this though really quick because we are slow as molasses. Value funds don't have it. It's going to bring, yeah, I mean, it's going to bring down the opportunity though too. If you think about it, will be amazing in other companies like that, like SMCI and AMD, like those types of companies will be hurting if Nvidia rolls over. All right, yeah, we're still slow for whatever reason today, dude. I don't know, but yeah, here it is. This does not look great to me personally. That's just my opinion though. You had the big push originally. Tried to get back up there, lower high. Now it did move higher in the after hours, I believe, up into here, whatever. Either way, lower high. And then now it's struggling to push back above the 30 area. And you have pressure on, you know, this 23, 24 area that it's sitting at right now. So, I don't know. Not a massive fan of it. AMC, let's check out that chart. Yeah. But it's boring. They're boring. They're really just boring to me. They're not maybe we're going to have those, you know, every so often you get a big surge and it's cool. Maybe. But to be honest, from what I've seen, they're a little too choppy. They have pressure to the downside, as in, you know, lower high as of late. And then they also have a lot of choppiness. So if you want to short it, go ahead, be my guest, and potentially get caught in the next spike, which may or may not be that big. But either way, probably will blow your short out. If you want to long it, every time we spike, it seems to be putting in lower highs, relatively speaking, or it gets sold off pretty quick. So if you're going to long it and you get a spike, you better get out on that spike, just based off what we've been seeing. Because the trend is starting to crack. I mean, you had, you know, fairly clear higher low trend, but you're starting to crack that right now. Especially if you break down under yesterday's low, which you're pretty much trying to do right now on GameStop. Not a good look. Next target will be under 23, and then below that, closer to 20 could be possible. But you know, of course, we're just throwing out random numbers at this point because anything can happen. But it doesn't look great. When you see a chart that looks like this, a big move down followed by a bit of a bounce, but then just steady pressure right back to the downside, headed towards that low of yesterday or of whatever previous period you were looking on the first move down. Generally not the best, and these can be momentum trades to the downside. Actually, I tend to trade some of those setups to the downside. I'm not going to trade GameStop, but I tend to look for that similar look. More of a tighter consolidation, but it's kind of what I'm looking for, and that's my momentum setup to the downside. So, something to think about. Now we're like 15 minutes, 17 minutes into the day. So we can start to see, you know, if there's anything of interest. Yeah, buying, like, you could buy the dip on a stock, for example, a year and a half ago. Had you bought the dip on Nvidia, had you bought the dip on Netflix and Meta and, you know, Apple and whatever, all those stocks, you would be sitting really pretty. But had you bought the dip on Tesla, not so much. And prior to that, Tesla trained you to say, hey, if the market goes up, Tesla's going to totally go up a lot more, right? It's got a lot more relative strength than the S&P and the NASDAQ. But guess what? That turned. And the same thing will eventually happen. Just rotates. And you can't control when. For the Nvidias and the Metas and the Netflix and the Apples, it'll go through rotations. And then the Russell, which has been relatively weak, will all of a sudden be relatively strong. And maybe that's next year, maybe it's in 2 years. There's no way to know, but that rotation will happen. And when you play the individual game, there's a lot more questions and a lot more opportunity to fuck up, in my opinion. Whereas when you buy ETFs, you know, you can look at, and especially the S&P and stuff like that, like or you know, these other bigger ETFs that have been around for a long time. You know, you can historically look back at the overall market averages and say to yourself, hey, you know, going back 50, 60, 70 years, whatever the time frame, you know, when we're down 25% in a year, probably a decent dip buy. And of course, we could go lower, but it's probably a better dip buy. And think about that. The average of the market has dropped 25%. If that's the case, that's like, you know, oh, okay, you know, let's play. Versus, dude, individual stocks can drop 8, as we saw, and you're still even seeing for some of them out there. For example, let's look at Unity Software, by the way. I just want to pull this one up. It's more of a high-risk stock. I understand it's not your Tesla, it's not your Amazon, it's not your Apple. I get it. But if you were to pick and choose from the high of the bull market in 2021 to where it currently sits right now, you are looking at a stock that is down over 92%. So They could, and it could be a great company in 20 years that goes to new all-time highs and it's very, very good. But inside of that 20-year span, you'll have, times where maybe this happens more than once, potentially. And maybe that's an exaggeration, but those moves can happen. Whereas they're a lot less likely to happen on the S&P, the NASDAQ, the Dow, the Russell, etc., ETFs. Yeah, I've been getting those emails for the 1% or the boost for Robinhood. They keep going back and forth, it looks like, with like Webull and stuff. eBay, it's funny. It's a good example in my view. Did I get rid of the watermarks? Fuck. eBay's a good example in my view of honestly why it's a set and forget type of situation. Because my stop loss, I did move it a little bit. My stop loss was originally right here. I moved it to under 51, like 50 or something like that. But originally got very close to that, didn't hit it, and then once it bounced off here, I moved it to that right there, and then same thing, got very, very close yesterday, didn't hit it. Could it eventually hit it? Yes. But there's a reason why you put the stop loss in a spot that validates the uptrend and validates the, and breakout not so much here. I'll be honest with you there. Like, it's not really a aggressive momentum trade, but either way, you broke out and then you pulled back, but you made a higher low. If you pull back and then you don't make a higher low, that's the invalidation, in my opinion, every time. Because, yeah, of course, you could undercut the low, then you could bounce. Anything could happen, but to have a much more systematic approach, if it's going to trend higher, I want to see a higher low. So if you break down underneath a recent relative low, get out on the breakout. Because the breakout ain't breaking out anymore. This isn't really breaking out, but the time frame of the trade was on the weekly time frame. So if you jump out to the weekly, all you really did was just kind of back test into the prior highs right here. And if you hold that area, it might roll off it and still be a good momentum play. I don't know, we'll see, but it's been a fun one to watch. Set and forget, simple as that. It's easy to overcomplicate it too, you can, because I thought yesterday too, I was sitting there and I was like, in the morning, I was like, should I just say fuck it? Like, this lower wick right here, when I saw that, and I was like, man, maybe I should just exit the position. It's going to hit the stop loss anyway. But I was like, no, leave it. Just it's close enough to the stop. If it's going to hit, let it hit. And it did not. And now it looks decently strong again, but that could change by tomorrow, or I guess by Thursday, or by the end of the day, for all we know. But it's funny how that works, though. TradingView not working. I'm having it. It's slow for me today. I don't know. It's a little slow. It's working, but it's a little bit slow. NVIDIA is still. It's not even close. It's just the strongest thing out here. Remember Apple from a few minutes ago we were just looking at? Holy shit, look at that rejection off that level. Boom, it broke it in the first 5 minutes of the day, and then just rejected massively off of it. Another reason why I don't like the first 5 to 10 minutes of the day specifically. Looks like it's going to be a break. It's going to go for a new low of the day here. So it looks like. AMD weak as fuck. Yeah, it's not a good look on AMD's chart. But you're coming into yesterday's low right there. You've got, it would just be tough to short right now, man. It's the weakest of my list for sure, but I don't know if I could get myself to short anything right now. With the market, you know, essentially inches from all-time highs, you know, trending stronger every day, like higher every day. You know, I just know my probabilities are not in my favor if I do that. Now, also you got NVIDIA strong. You can look at, I could look at AMD being an inverse, meaning look for it to show my setup on the downside, break the downside, and then get bought it back up quick. And if it does do that, you can play the reversal, but I don't think I'm going to do that. Well, also, it has to present my setup, so. Booking, baby. Come on. 40 more bucks on booking. 40 more bucks for take profit. I would love for it to hit today. Partially because I don't really, when it's a stock that I trade for the first time in a while, or first time I guess really ever, I don't think I've ever really traded booking. I legitimately don't think I've ever. I do not think I've ever traded booking options, stock, never. I don't think I've ever touched this stock. But when you get one like that you've never traded before, it's kind of like, I just want it to just kind of go quickly and then be out and then move on. Yeah, there's no pressure to, there is absolutely no rush here today, and there's no pressure to do anything. I got enough that I'm watching, you know, for positions that I'm in, you know, so there's not really a need to do anything. Not that that means much anyway. Silver and gold have gone green. Well, I guess gold was green and it's now more green. Silver's gone green. Moving forward, I pretty much decided that I'm close to, it's going to be a weird period of time from the prop firm account stuff, because in the next couple months, because I'm very close to getting funded on one and then buying a higher or larger account on that same company and then just connecting a trade copier. So it will be like some trades will be huge P&Ls relative and some won't, because on the other account, the 25K account, we're still trading the same way we've been. So it's going to be kind of going back and forth for a period of time. I don't know. We'll see. But I'm now moving towards only stocks in one of the accounts and then everything else, futures, commodities, crypto, in the other account, just to clean things up, to make it a little bit easier. And also I believe my stock trading is more common. I trade more stocks in general, and I tend to do better with them. So I don't know, it could skew the data a little bit on the accounts. I have no idea. We'll see how it goes though. Let's see what else is going on here. Coinbase is down 3%. No, it was down more. It's bouncing back. ARK. SMCI. Ooh, SMCI just had a pop. We've been watching SMCI. If it breaks for 925, really good looks in my opinion on the breakout here. I like the look of that a lot. If 925 breaks today and it closes strong, you know, honestly, if it was me and I could trade this thing, that break, I would be targeting somewhere up in here. Honestly, probably a new all-time high just based off what we got. But you know, bigger picture, we're talking a weekly, you know, swing time frame, not daily, not even, you know, not something to worry about, you know, every 2 seconds. Just let it do its big picture thing, and either it works or doesn't work. It's kind of how I would view it. Now the celebration, it'll be fun, but the celebration will be when I get the payouts, because getting funded is step one, and then it's now, okay, now 100% payouts is cool. So now we can actually, you know, reap the rewards. But I'm planning to go, I'm planning this year to massively take things up a notch, using the power of the props. So we'll see how it goes. And I mean, because they offer $10,000, $25K, $50K, $100K, and a $200K account. So on this new one that I'm using, which was stock based, I was like, okay, well, I already had a 25K one over here, so I'll get a 10K to test things out because it's a brand new company. So it's funny how that one I got, I don't know when I started it, but that was the one that I started the most recently that I'm very, very close to getting funded on, which is cool. But I'm going to 200K. Like I'm not immediately buying it, but shortly after. They'll probably do a 4th of July sale in the next 2 weeks or so. Buy that when you get a little bit of discount. Buy the 4th of July sale. Connect the trade copier. Trade the 25K account. I'm not even going to look. Like, I'll look at the other one just to make sure the copier is working. But trade the 25K account, the same exact sizing that I've been using, and just have it 8x onto the other account. And then in the background, I'll be, you know, essentially working on that account challenge and stuff, while hopefully withdrawing nice profits or, you know, modest gains on the 10K while I have it funded, you know. So that's the plan. And then the other one is the other is a 25K account, which we're close to. We actually technically were over the phase 1 target limit, and then I just didn't take profits on trades because they didn't hit my ultimate target. So I was like, I'm not going to just sell these all early because I'm, you know, moving on to phase 2. No, I'm just going to trade the same way I've been trading. And of course, it kind of bit me in the ass because I could have gotten out and I could have moved on to phase 2. Yeah, but I would have skewed it technically wouldn't have been trading my strategy the way that I should have. And I was like, I don't want to do that and then build that habit of potentially when you're funded now be like, well, I'm up $200, so I'm just going to take it because I need a new pair of shoes or I got to pay fucking this or that. And then it gets into a bad mindset. It's not how it should be. At least that's how I view it. So we'll see. Booking, just fucking go. But yeah, we are at, the equity in the account is at $10,357. 10,600 is when is what I have to target. So we're like $240 away. You know, with open positions that potentially all could move that needle. So we'll see. Yeah, I just didn't want to. I just didn't want to do some, just build bad habits. And then when you build the bad habits, it's like, oh, it's not worth it in my and in the grand scheme. It shouldn't matter anyway. But yeah, that one is funny because technically speaking, had it been one prop firm from day one, I would already be funded on it because of how I traded with the one that went under and stuff. Surge trader, but it takes time if you do it right, because I've never failed one. If you do it right, it takes time, but once you're there, I really think it's quite worth it once you get past a lot of the shit. And then now you're like, okay, you build a little bit of a cushion, and now it's all, your money if you make money. And now it's just take your time. There's no one rushing you. You just trade when there's good setups, and that's it. There's no reason to force anything and stuff like that. Now also the other piece too is I'm going to be paying down the rest of my student loans. That's a reality. Any extra money I have is getting slammed on those. So those are gone. Because I'm pumped. Because my view of it all is like, I'm pumped, to be honestly, to the situation that I'm in now, is like the markets are really, really good while I'm finishing that up. So I don't, it's not like the market's at all-time lows. No, not that it would. Not like the market's at down 30% off of all-time highs, and all of my excess capital or cash is now being put towards loans, high interest loans that I got to pay down, versus I could be throwing it all in the market. My plan is like, hopefully whenever the market rolls over, I have money, or a lot more money, to be throwing at the market, and then no debt. So that's the reality. So it's kind of, in a perfect world, it's kind of working out good for now. It's like, well, keep going up, keep going higher, go higher, go higher, because it's not a time that I feel like I'm missing out from throwing like larger amounts of money into investments where I could just be killing the debt. Once it's all gone, credit score is good, you're looking good, then you can do whatever you want. You want to buy a house, you want to get a mortgage, you want to buy, get a loan for a car, whatever, like a new car, like, yeah, you can do whatever you want. These doors open up once the debt's gone and shit. And you've got the payment history to show for it and all that stuff. So just trying to be smart. But I was saying yesterday, I think the opportunity, maybe it's worth a video from a psychology perspective. I think the opportunity or the potential for a massive downside in the market, not because I'm, predicting the next massive fucking black swan end of the world type of thing, just from a psychology perspective, because you have had proven over the past couple of years that if you buy dips in the market, if you bought the dip, you missed, if you made money. And we know how that doesn't always work forever. This is how the market has to work. It has to change things up. Like, whereas a breakout strategy doesn't always work forever, a dip buy strategy doesn't, it goes through phases. You can ride those phases out with good risk management and understanding, how the market cycles kind of go back and forth. But at some point, my view is kind of like, you'll get a decent dip in the market, and then it won't look that bad. And so people will say, or it will look bad, and people will be like, well, if anything from the past couple of years or the past decade or so has taught us anything, you got to buy the dip. COVID, 2021 or 2022 bear market, you were conditioned to, if you did not buy the dip, you missed out huge. Nvidia is a perfect example. The thing dropped like 70% from highs and then went on a massive multiple 100%, 1,000% run from there. I don't even know. It's up a shit ton. Then the stock, no, it's up. Yeah, the stock was a sub $100 or sub $200 stock, and now pre-split it was like $1,250. In a year and a half. So you were conditioned like, holy shit, you gotta buy these dips. And my view is that I think there's an opportunity to absolutely annihilate dip buyers and to completely humble them, essentially. Not that it's a big deal when you're looking at the overall market and a long-term view, but for people who are trying to play off that, like, you know, medium term really doesn't exist. Like, I think that there's an opportunity there to just destroy people. Not saying that I wouldn't be interested in buying the dip if the market dropped 25%. Like, I totally would. But would I be putting money in and selling my house or whatever, selling everything I have to do that? No. You know, I'd just be putting in a normal amount and dollar cost averaging as normal. And then, you know, if it keeps going lower, cool. Keep buying lower, you know, and hopefully in a decade or two, you're going to look back and say, thank God I was doing that, you know. But your decade or two, you know, is the time horizon in my view, versus like people thinking that, oh man, you know, these dips happen and within 2 years, we'll be back at all-time highs and I'm going to make so much money. I think that mindset is going to get people into a lot of trouble, or could get people into trouble. I mean, who knows? There's no way to know. And cash right now is a good position, dude. I think my mom was asking, she was saying, like, you know, when my portfolio hits this number, I'm going to sell everything and get into safer stuff. I'm like, well, okay. Well, first off, that's a terrible mindset, I think. But second off, why that number? A, is it a cool number to you? And B, wouldn't you just start doing that now? And also C, there is no such thing as like a safe, easy, you know, 8% yielding investment, really. You can get 4 to 5% right now, treasuries. Like, yeah, that's your safe, I guess, bet. But your 8% per year type, no, I mean, doesn't really exist without risk. But right now, 4 to 5% cash. If you had done think about this. If you have done very, very well over the past couple of years, and you're like, holy shit, I have, you know, outpaced the average market returns by like fucking 8x, you know, these past couple of years, 4 to 5% sounds freaking great. You know what I mean? It does. It sounds really good. No risk, sit back, 4 to 5%. Okay, I'm making money on my money. I have more of it than I did a couple years ago, and now that money is making me more money because it's, you know, and until rates start to come down, the incentive to me is like, yeah, I mean, why not? If rates go under 3%, then you're like, okay, you know, do I want to be maybe thinking about where I want to invest? And if rates go under 3%, then where the market, what's going on? And we'll, you know, then that's the next question. SMCI, by the way, is breaking 925. As we were talking about yesterday, this is a pretty interesting location on the bigger picture time frames. It is now like starting to really break out on the bigger picture downtrend. So something to keep in mind, I think, if looking at these types of stocks, or SMCI, if you're looking for an idea. Maybe this is a momentum trade to be keeping a closer look at or eye on going forward. How's my Netflix doing? Not bad, not bad. Higher lows. Want to see it break this 683 next. Break up this area, and then we're looking really good. Booking does look good, man. Not asking for a lot, just a nice little grinder up to right up to here, and then we're good. That's all we want. Just a little bit more. Had a great day yesterday, though. I think back to what it did. It was, you know, low a day was at 38.41, and it finished high a day 39.57. So well over a $100 move from low to high. So it can do it. It can do it if it wants it. I mean, maybe I was talking to my dad about this too. It's funny because my dad and my mom have very different views about their portfolios and their money and stuff. My mom is much more, she doesn't want to take excess risk if she doesn't need to. Whereas my dad is kind of like, he lost a lot of money back in 08, 09. And so he's kind of like, I got to make more and catch up, you know? I got to catch up to where I should be had I not lost all that money back then. So it's like it's kind of a dangerous, mindset. I'm trying to, at least keep them more level-headed on it. My mom, on the other hand, is kind of like, she's like, I don't want to lose my money. I don't want to risk it, a lot of it. I don't want to lose it. I want to keep it. And, and that's it. But the higher it goes, the better it is. I mean, in terms of I don't think, like, I look back and say, I can't really recall too many times where I had sold something for a good gain or for nice gains, profit, whatever, and it's gone way higher, and I look back and go, oh my God, like I don't beat myself up for that stuff. Maybe that's just me, but I'm like, hey, if you're feeling like at all uneasy and things keep going up, every day is a new opportunity to trim something and to minimize your downside potential risk. AMD bouncing up off a bit slow. Let's pull it up. Yeah, pretty much it just made a higher low compared to yesterday. So a nice bounce there. Tesla, Amazon did a nice ripper right there. Near that time, we're getting closer to that time of year too, that I gotta look back. I remember specifically last year, May was quite good. June, I think, was okay for me. July was okay. But then August, September were not. October is my best month, I believe, of the year in terms of just executions. I don't know if it was best P&L month, but it was my best month I felt from how I operated and the opportunities and the setups I got. But not sure how that will play out, but you got to consider maybe that things start to slow down as we approach the meat of the summer and then into the early fall. So might be more of a mindset of like starting to sharpen the knives from the perspective of the inverse strategy. So the inverse to my strategy. So more like false breakdown dip buys and false breakout shorts, I think. Because if I had done that last year during those months, it would have paid off much better. But at the same time, there's also no rush. Like, you don't have to trade them. And I'm planning in about a couple of weeks, like a little bit of travel stuff. And then in about a month and a half, more travel. So it kind of will hopefully take care of itself. But, just something that I'm thinking back to like last year and prior experiences, just to keep in the back of my mind so I don't do dumb shit. Or at least I got a better mindset now, I think about it, but there's like, if you don't see anything good, then don't bother. You don't have to do anything. And it's probably going to serve you better anyway in the long run by not doing anything than by forcing shit. That's my 2 cents. I think SMCI keeps going here. Yeah, 931. Very big move, man. 934 just hit a few minutes ago. Big move on SMCI today. It's up almost 5%. It was yesterday. It was up a lot. I mean, it's had some days though. I mean, back in yeah, 10% days are not that. I mean, are rare, but could totally happen because this thing moves. She knows how to move. AMC went green. GameStop trying to go green. Bitcoin bouncing a little bit. Oil's up almost 1% on the day. Nice day for oil. 10 years down 0.5% roughly. The dollar's down barely, but had just recently had a nice couple of days. The VIX, you know, not looking great. Oh, God. Sweat a lot today. It's humid out here. Morning runs. I also got lost today on a morning run. I was planning to do a loop that I did last week, and I was like, okay, like, you know, I'll do it. But then I'm like, yeah, let's change it up. And then I cut into these neighborhoods that I've never been in, didn't know anything about them. Just like, oh, we'll just see what happens. And then, oh, we saw what happened. I mean, I got lost. No shit, no way. I'm looking back at that map too now. I'm like, oh wow. Sort of slow on I mean, if you look at SPY. Yeah. Could it break up or down today? Yeah, but so far tried to, you know, test yesterday's high a little bit this morning. Rejected. Now it's just kind of consolidating and holding around. But check out the move on AMD just now. Look at that. Just got hammered. Bounce right back immediately. NVIDIA, I think similar. New hot hammer, bounce right back. SMCI, I think price following suit. No, just much stronger. SMCI is just stronger compared. I was trying to check to see if it had any correlation to those guys. Not really. And Bitcoin, by the way, too, is just, you know, when we began, it didn't look great. It was down like almost 3%, and it's now bounced a bit. All right, I think it's time to go through the full list here because it's been every couple of days. I want to just make sure I rip through it just to get a sense for what's going on, and also if there's any other charts to you keeping in the back burner. CrowdStrike did look good. Alts got slammed. Yeah, I had I recently just threw some money at some alts just because I was like, I got some extra money lying around in Robinhood. Let's just throw a couple bucks here in case we have the next leg of a bull, because they haven't really gone crazy. I mean, they did decently in the Bitcoin move initially, but then they've kind of been quiet since. And I bought like a week or two ago, and I think I'm down like 10 to 20% across the board, maybe more across the board and across like everything, all of them. But they're not really something that I'm concerned about. Damn, PayPal looks weak. Holy shit, Micron. Talk about a massive move. Holy shit. Is Micron tradable on this account? Oh, I think it is. Oh shit, yeah. This one could be good. I might throw it on my main watch list because it does move a frick ton. I'm just gonna put it right underneath SMCI and NVIDIA. But that's an interesting one because the reason why is because I think this could be a candidate for day trades. I don't know. I have to watch it a little bit. But maybe swings, probably not day trades, probably swings. Either way, it'll be a good one to watch because it moves a lot. At least it does now. Oof, mRNA, man. I had that idea yesterday or 2 days ago or whatever, 3 days ago. Drew that line in and was like, I don't know, and then didn't trade it. And $10 move below it. This was sketchy because market's been strong. It's been strong. Yeah, I'm looking for a breakdown, but you're playing a breakdown in a bigger picture strength. Into bigger picture strength and into overall market strength. So it was kind of sketch, which is why I didn't do it, but it worked. Oh my God. BlackBerry. Talk about getting rocked. Are we surprised? No. SC looks really good. I'm just ripping through this list fairly quickly. Roku could be one to watch on downside. As much as I hate to say it, I mean, I don't know, man. Just super, super weak. Below here, I'll put an alert on that level just because. Could be interesting. CME, kind of a similar story, but I'm going to leave that alone. Not as good. Zoom, new all-time low. Not super surprising with the way that things have kind of been shaken out and hasn't really changed much. Dude, TSM, absolute monster as well. Oracle's been on killing. Honeywell looks like it's trying to break that 210, 211. Costco, she keeps going. You can't stop the Costco train. If you try to jump in the way, they will just roll you out with those fucking 50-cent hot dogs or whatever they are. Look at Sony's chart. Talk about gaps. Holy shit. I don't think I've seen a chart that looks this crazy with gaps. There's gaps everywhere. Johnson & Johnson. Might have to fucking short that shit underneath 143. I'll put an alert on it. Let's see. Yeah, I mean, been trending down. I don't know how valid of a short that really is, to be honest with you, but it's a level of interest. My brother texted me. He goes, I'm going to buy a bunch of cheap EVs. I'm like, okay. He's bought like XPEV, Neo, and Rivian, I think. I mean, maybe they'll be good. They are down a lot, so I'm like, yeah, at least you're not buying into like Nvidia right now. Actually, I think he did buy Nvidia, but not a lot. Maybe like one share or something like that. I don't know. I was like, yeah, I mean, I don't know about the Nvidia, but the EVs, I guess, I mean, they're cheap. Maybe in a couple of years they'll bounce. I don't know. Qualcomm looks like a beast. A couple beasts, but nothing really. A couple alerts to set, but nothing crazy to add. In my opinion, there. Nothing crazy to do. SMCI continues to stay strong. Nvidia, strong as well, relatively speaking. mRNA, weak as fuck. Micron, new high. SPY, not much going on. I say that now, and that could change completely, but nothing's screaming. So, with that said, I think we've been going for about an hour and 3 minutes. I may just wrap up. The reasoning, well, not reason. There's just not much craziness going on, and I don't really have a need or a hard pull or a push to do anything new to what I currently have. I like my current positions, and I'm gonna leave them. So. Should be trade recaps out today. Actually, maybe not, because we're waiting on TradeZella to fix them up on the back end to make sure that they're being transferred properly. I guess I don't have to use TradeZella to do the recap. I can just log into my broker, I guess. But I like to just wait till that's all set so we can get the data and the stats from it. But either way, not a big deal. That should be out in the coming days, maybe tomorrow. Otherwise, we'll see what happens here. Watch and SPY. Maybe it wants to have a pop here. We'll see. I'll see you guys not tomorrow, but on Thursday morning, and then Friday for an afternoon power hour stream. Peace. Enjoy your Tuesday. Markets close tomorrow.